Greetings, all! Today, we'll be examining the uncommon grass normal type Pokemon Smoliv, its equally uncommon evolution Dolliv, and its rare final evolution Arboliva, the three collectively known as the Olive Pokémon. While they might come off as a bit too cute for most to take seriously early on, the members of the Smoliv family are unique plants that can make decent use of their natural powers to put up a fight when called for.
Smoliv have small, oblong green bodies with a single pair of tiny feet used for locomotion, as well as a pair of black-ringed white eyes and a small mouth with a nervous, squiggly shape to it. The top of the body is crowned with a large crown of darker green leaves, with a large yellowish-green olive fruit sprouting from the center of this crown. Their evolved form, Dolliv, have a much more humanoid form to them, with small, thin legs, a pair of leafy arms with 3 digits each, and dark green dress of sorts, with a pale white fleshy coloration to the inside that covers their torso and most of their legs. Their small mouth is also complemented by the existence of 2 large yellowish-green olives that sprout from each side of their head. Their final evolution, Arboliva, retain the lower body form of Dolliv, albeit with a darker brown woody dress-like cover instead of green, and their eyes are almost perpetually closed, the top of the head now sporting a leafy crown of sorts. Their arms have transformed dramatically in this state as well, having converted into long bow-like limbs that curve down and then up away from the body laterally, covered in a thick swath of green leaves with 3 large purple-colored olive fruits hanging from each limb. The members of the Smoliv family are the only plant-based Pokemon that are closely related to olives, and because of this, they have several unique traits to help to separate them from any other grass-type Pokemon. For one thing, unlike most plants, they are classified as partial normal types because of not only the ways their bodies are constructed, as they are a bit strong but more rigid than they might otherwise look, and tend to snap when hit forcefully with something like a fighting-type attack, but also because the oil they naturally produce in the bodies has exotic qualities compared to the neutral olive oil it shares most of its properties with, namely the power to disperse spiritual energy and cleanse it, thus making them immune to ghost-type attacks just like other normal-type Pokemon. This oil is also what allows them to adapt to a wide variety of climates, as it usually produces a way for them to sustain themselves in low-water environments where the ground might otherwise be relatively barren. Their adaptation to harsher environments is also assisted by having a larger, more extensive root system than other plants when they choose to root in place, and their leaves tend to be a bit on the small size to reduce evaporation on their bodies. Altogether, this results in a very sturdy plant form that can be grown in otherwise barren soil and make good use of groundwater to acquire everything they need to survive, as does the family's exclusive access to the terrain pulse attack, though this also tends to slightly isolate their spawning grounds, as they tend to not do so well when they are crowded out by other plants in need of resources.
Their abilities further reflect this in practice, as while Smoliv and Dolliv are known to be rather jumpy and easily startled when sleeping, having access to early bird as their only base ability, Arboliva are more well known for their capacity to spread seeds in battle with the slightest contact, giving them access to unique seed sower ability as a base ability instead. Regardless, they are still linked with their hidden ability, as those are able to regenerate organic matter in their possession more effectively than normal can also have Harvest as a hidden ability.
As far as the stats are concerned in the case of Arboliva, it is noted that these plants are not the strongest when it comes to their overall stamina and their physical strength, plus they are often held back by their limited movement capabilities, so the base HP, attack, and speed stats are below average for fully evolved grass and normal type Pokemon. However, they are quite sturdy and can make good use of their special offenses to make an impact in a fight, the base defense, special attack, and special defense stats being above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, thus rendering them a fearsome force to face without a way to break through their special offenses and potent defenses. Smoliv don't have much in the way of serious offense early on in their lives, but they are an advantage compared to some other young grass types in that they're able to use their sturdy bodies to deliver tackle attacks that other grass types can't really accomplish on their own. The oil they generate in the fruit on the head can be broken down and converted into nutrients for these little creatures when they are on the go, and they can in turn survive in almost any climate, provided they can at least get access to groundwater in some form or another. Even so, they are able to go an entire week without eating and drinking at full storage, and if they find themselves under attack, they can use this oil as a tool of diversion as well. While the oil that comes from their bodies can be processed to make it delicious and consumable for humans at the very least, in its raw form, it is extremely bitter and astringent, enough for the smell and taste of it to cause others to flinch, and thus serves as a useful deterrent when excreted from the fruit on the head or even the overall body. This can give them an advantage over the many herbivores that otherwise like to dine on them, but given that one bad taste is unlikely to also deter larger enemies, they tend to travel in large groups in the hope of overwhelming those that attack them, and given that it tends to work, it's not surprising to see large numbers of these plants gathered together in small areas, especially around the olive trees they enjoy nesting alongside. When Smoliv managed to evolve into Dolliv, The bitter and astringent nature of the oil mellows out and takes on a rich, sweet flavor that makes them extremely popular with other life forms, and evolution grants them an intelligence boost that makes them likely to share this oil with those that they consider to be close friends, or at the very least trustworthy, and humans have been taking advantage of this behavior for ages and ages. In fact, it is widely believed that the more graceful human-like natures of these creatures are the result of human interference in selective breeding to produce the calmest and most sociable plants possible, and it seems to have worked in spades with these plants. At the same time, however, it seems that this has come with a personality quirk, as these plants will only hang around humans for so long as the fruits on their heads are still developing. Once this occurs and the fruits are ripe and ready for harvesting, these plants will choose to leave for a time in order to see the world around them and find the best place for themselves to mature and fully evolve into the final stage, Arboliva. While this can be a sad event to some, as these plants do not always return to their owners, it is said that they will come back if they cannot find a place that is as sustainable or more so than the place that birthed them in the first place. So those that are caring and give their Dolliv all the love they can get can be assured that they may likely return, and in turn shower any olive farm with the same love and care that made them the individuals they truly are. After Dolliv fully mature and evolve into Arboliva, their already kind natures are amplified as they become extremely kind and compassionate towards most, freely showering others with ripened fruits as a gift and a sign of care and friendship. This is especially the case on olive farms, as those lucky enough to have one of these creatures can expect them to donate their ripened fruits as they develop, and the fruits can be pressed to make the most exquisite olive oil known to mankind. They may even go so far as to put themselves inside the houses of others unannounced, just to share the bounty, and this is usually taken as a sign that they respect and care greatly for those that live on the property. However, beneath this kind exterior is also a fiercely territorial and dangerous creature, as while they enjoy sharing the nutrient-rich oily fruits with weakened Pokémon, those that are hostile towards them and those they watch over are in for a major shock, as these plants can be ruthless if they are forced into such an offensive role. They are able to use their fruits as projectiles and will fling them with enemies enough force to smash boulders and break bones easily, and are thus not to be trifled with, further noting the acquisition of a safeguard technique and a mirror coat attack with a bit of artificial help once they evolve. At the same time, their bodies are able to produce their fruits at an astonishing pace, enough that it grants them access to the unique seed sower ability as their only base ability, which generates grassy terrain anytime they are struck directly with an attack, so they have plenty of defensive utility to offer alongside the strong special powers for those that are interested in using them in combat.
These strange plants might stand out for the unique type assignment alone, but there's also much more going on with them that is worth noting for those interested in raising them. Smoliv are skittish little cuties that tend to travel in tight groups, and this can be a bit much for some trainers to handle all at once, but they are still fairly weak and won't always be such a huge problem to deal with if you can show great kindness to them. Dolliv honestly remind me of Curlia a great deal in terms of the physical forms, and are a step up from their pre-evolved form. And while it might take them a while to get to adulthood, the penchant for traveling abroad can make them a fun encounter to have when you least expect it. Arboliva are majestic in their looks and behavior, and really know how to show some hospitality with their fruits and natures, as long as you are kind in return to them. However, don't think that this kindness can be abused, as they have access to some very powerful attacks that can make them a serious threat to deal with if you can't resist the power of their special offenses, even if they are incredibly slow, and more often than not, will have to rely on countering any opponent's initial strikes in order to get a leg up on them.
They might be a bit odd to some in terms of the type assignment and their access to potent attacks of both types, but the members of the Smoliv family can prove to be a force to be concerned about if they can't be directly dealt with. It might take a while to get them into a form that can really deal with stronger predators and opponents, but the wait can be more than worth it with the sheer defensive and offensive power they wield once they really get going in life.
Just do yourself a favor and never take more than your fair share if these plants offer something delectable for you to devour, as they might be a bit more than peeved by it and give you a wallop from afar that might leave you wondering just what happened to get struck out by an olive tree.
Thank you for watching this video. It brings me great joy to be able to speak to you all in the world each and every time we meet like this, to explore the many different facets of both the world of Pokemon as we know it, and the world as we live it, through every adventure we have with Pokemon by our side. If you'd like to, please subscribe, ring the bell and all that jazz, to keep yourself updated on content uploads and other materials of the like. You can also follow me on Twitter if you'd like to know right away when something new is uploaded, and my written works, from which most of this is based on, can be found on DeviantArt. Links to both can be found in the description down below. Remember that the world of Pokemon is a place full of wonder and mystery, and you never know what to expect. So, stay vigilant, keep watch, and always be prepared for the unexpected. Until next time, trainers and friends of all sorts, have a wonderful time.